Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, three-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
Took overtime, guys, but 3 in a row.
Woohoo! 3 in a row is 3 in a row.
Yeah, no, I'll take it. Dan, Bobby and I were talking a little bit before the show about the game, so we'll talk more about it. But Dan, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was, I thought they played a very good first half. I thought that as we got into the second half and you saw them waning, it was going to be like, okay, if we get that kind of performance from Akira Schmid that we've seen in the first half, we don't, that's okay. And for the most part, he's really good. But then it turned into a really spectacular game in general. Because watching Carter Hart, he was amazing. He was the only reason the Flyers hung in there. Where he did great. So it was really kind of contrasting when you saw that second goal. It was a bad luck situation, but it was also something that I think Schmid would have wanted to be more aware of.
That's the goal that I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah,
because,
it was disappointing. I think he would find it disappointing.
Because that pretty much answers my question. Because I think to a layman like myself, who's not a goalie and has never been between the pipes, and especially anything from the blue line, you have to stop that. But at the same time, okay, he's screened, and right. So to me,
so found a little area
goal?
too.
Yeah,
here's the thing, it's
to me that's a bad goal. But
here's the thing, there's a part of I think if you ask him, he's always going to tell you it's one I want back because first of all, on some level, every goal you want back, right? Sure, so it's not untrue. But I think if he was going to defend himself, and no good goalie ever would tell you that. Yes, you say don't never let a long one. Blue line, gotta stop it. And it's so 99% true, 99.999% true that you don't argue the point. The truth is, if you really want to know the truth, a puck can do weird, wacky, fluttery shit. Mm-hmm. You can't argue after the fact, guys, that thing dove. I couldn't see it. It had the perfect path. You couldn't design a better maze for me to see through from my point of view. There's just going to be no excuses made, and you either got that one or you didn't. But you really want to know the truth. The goal that bothered me the most for him, that one's going to jump out at anyone because it's so far away. But the third goal, there's a timing thing. Look, it's a team failure. Don't get me wrong. They should have never taken that penalty. And it was also a lot of bullshit on the call. But here you are, you got the lead still. And I know he's feeling, I think it was Tippett or whatever his name is on his right. So this is a factor in why, but he's playing too deep. That goal that's tipped. It's a beautiful tip. It's a great play by the Flyers. It's out of I think it was 5-on-4 at that point, but it was just off of 5-on-3. And I'm not taking away from anything that was done against him, but I think he would have liked a bit at the top of the crease. Now, he's a big guy. They're gonna actually play a little deeper and get away with it in a lot of situations, but that's a far out shot. That you have to trust your defenseman enough to at least get out into the crease. Even if you feel that guy to your right that you don't want to be caught unawares.
It's funny you mentioned that one too, because it looked like the trajectory that it was already on, even though it was tipped, it would have still went 5-hole, and he was pretty open there, even with the tip. It did change direction, but it didn't drop a foot or two.
Right.
Just kind of.
Hey, look what we got here. It's Tony.
What's up,
Tony?
Guys?
Awesome. How are you, man?
I'm sick as shit, so I'm on here with you guys after that great,
okay. Well,
great
this is
ending.
your therapy.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty. Oh yeah, wasn't it great? Yeah, we were just talking
celebrating a win.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And what did you think of the goaltending? Let's say both teams, Tony. That's kind of what we were just on about.
Schmid was killer. I thought,
he definitely made a lot of great saves.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to knock it, but what did you think in particular about Schmid's second and third goals against? Did you like them? Did you feel they were as high quality as you would have accepted, or are you okay with it?
I'm indifferent. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, did you say the refs? Did you say bad reffing?
I thought the refs were bad tonight. Yeah, a little bit.
It was kind of crazy that missed, like call on Hughes, and then he, there was a lot of they're going to
perfect ending,
overlook
right,
the first
with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought I don't think the refs played too much into it. I think they could have maybe called a hold on Heischer. I mean, a penalty on the Flyers when they were holding Heischer's stick late in the third period. That was maybe one he missed, which then led to the cross check and the just stupid ass penalty by Brendan Smith. Brendan Smith doesn't commit that penalty. We have 2 points tonight in the Flyers.
That's the one you want back. The one on Hughes is one of those unlucky. He flipped it over to glass, and it was a problem. But
the Hughes hold, stupid or obstruction, whatever the hell it was. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the Brendan Smith one. Like, you can't take that. You can't take that retaliatory penalty, dude. You have the lead.
Oh yeah,
you're killing off a penalty already. You're already on the fucking PK. You cannot do that. But put him on the fourth line. I'm fine with that. Don't put the man on defense.
That's what Chris and I were saying. Put him right back on defense.
Did you notice, though, they were touting Smith actually has really good numbers on that penalty kill. So, this took me hurt you.
On a really bad penalty kill. He has great numbers on a really bad penalty kill.
But he was our most effective penalty killer by stats, I guess.
The penalty kill has got to get a lot better. I loved how they played tonight. I do. It was, especially late in the second, the third one, especially when they got the 3-1 lead at that point. Yes. They played a really sound game, took their chances when they had to. They were just, getting the puck out of the zone for the most part. They got caught a couple of times, but Schmidt came up big when they had to. I thought Marino and Siegenthaler played a great game.
A lot of improvement there, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought Luke Hughes is just a fucking warrior. Then, Dan, to what you said in the last show, yes, the Hughes parents need to have more children.
Seriously, right?
They're just too goddamn good.
Just to watch them in overtime.
Yeah.
Did you guys already mention, too, how important, having Nico back in the lineup, I think, has just been, it makes you realize how important he is when you don't realize it sometimes. Sometimes you take Nico for granted. I think we all have in the past.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and you realize when he's out there, he's
happened to him? Because it didn't look like a big shot.
He was twisted around hard to dive for the puck, and he kind of got his feet in an awkward position, and Carter Hart's going for the puck, so there's like incidental contact. Nobody knocked anybody over, and he just went down he fell so awkwardly. He fell with his right arm underneath him, right?
Kind of tied into his own stick and body. He really couldn't kind of put his arms out to stop.
His stick too,
so he just figured, I'll just break the fall with my face.
Left side of his right side of his face and his right shoulder into the ice like that.
Very awkward.
Coming off of these head injuries, I don't like.
I know
bracing himself when he's falling to the friggin' ice. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Nico Heischer's not playing tomorrow.
He looked good
after. Get Timo back, and something's going to happen when it comes to the head injuries. I said it earlier. This could be something where this guy's in and out of the lineup all year, and that's not what you want to see.
That's the kind of thing that can happen with concussions. It's huge. It's very common, and I hope not. I hope that's not the case. He's been looking so good since he returned.
Yeah, and like Tony said, the team is different. Their leader's back. He has, especially I think this year, kind of taken that captainship and kind of I think has added a little bit more. What's the word I'm guessing? Validity or whatever to it. Like, I don't know. We've always questioned him as the captain, Dan.
Yeah, I always ask the question, is he the real deal as a captain? Is he the best ideal captain? He's growing into it this year.
He's growing into it. And he's saying all the right things. He's doing all the right things on the ice. And, he can't be undervalued. He's an extremely important part of this team. And that was but the ending, man, it does kind of annoy me that we gave 1 point away, but I don't want to be a contrarian tonight. We won the game. It's 3 in a row. Yeah. That's big.
And you got to see a beautiful 2-on-1. I mean, that was just gorgeous.
The pass and the shot were just flawless, man. Those two are so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I keep on thinking about as I watch these games now? I keep on thinking about our accountability sessions, and I'm always trying to remember who said what. Because I have no memory. Yeah. I got zero memory. I'm like, I just know one I always pick. Obviously, that's the anti-Bobby ones. That's Bobby. But I couldn't remember. I'm like, who the hell picks what when I'm watching those games? Now this is in my mind.
I have no memory of any of us picked, including myself.
I cannot remember.
Thank God Chris writes them down.
But now when I watch this, I think about this. I'm like, what is this? What did this guy say about this? But, now we got the Sharks coming up, so hey, it could be a 3 in a row.
I'm not sure if we're going to see I'm not sure if we're going to see Mackenzie Blackwood. He played tonight, so most likely we're not going to see him. I think they were up in Boston tonight, and I don't know how that game went.
I'll find out.
Did you?
That's
guys,
kind of surprising.
Did anybody watch the Ranger Red Wing game last night?
Did not.
Did not.
It's a friggin' great game, and the Rangers are super freaking good. Like, this is a
impressed
team
with the performance.
I am so impressed with this team, and it's like they have that. They play the way that you play when you go on a deep playoff run team.
Wow.
Like, they have everything right now. Jimmy Vesey scored the game-winning goal on just a beautiful, like, lacrosse-style goal.
I miss him every time we play them because he finds a way to hurt us.
Yeah, he does. But that team is for real, and so is the Detroit Red Wings. And I think that Patrick Kane probably couldn't have picked a better spot to go to. I think that team, with him on it, they're going to go to another level. They're going to be a tough out this year.
They won 5-1 against the Blackhawks, the Red Wings tonight. And Bruins won 3-0 against the Sharks. Panthers 5-1 against the Canadiens. Tampa lost 4-2 against the Penguins. And then obviously we won 4-3. Leafs beat the Kraken 4-3, and the Canes. Actually, the Islanders just scored. I guess so it's 4-3 against the Hurricanes.
Was the Leaf game a regulation win?
No, it was a shootout.
Wow.
Just points everywhere.
The Toronto Maple Leafs only have, how many wins do they have?
I'll tell you here. Give me a moment. They are 12-6-3. Kraken are
5 games won in regulation.
Wow,
really?
You got it.
5 games won in regulation.
This goes to show you those preseason calls that you make can't take too much stock in them. I don't think anybody saw Toronto starting out this bad. I thought
they're really good though. They're right up there.
Yeah.
I mean, but they have all the points. They're winning, but only 5 of those wins
That's crazy.
are in regulation.
That's crazy.
Yes, like they are winning in overtime and shootouts. But yeah, that's every time I look at the.
I feel like that's a lot like us though. Like we're not going to as many overtimes, but it's like the game's always in question, isn't it? You know?
Yeah. With us, no doubt. And we're getting better. I mean,
for a large part, it was like, this is it. You're clamping down. You got control. Looked really good. Just, my confidence that they could sustain that kind of clamp down for the 2-goal lead through like 2 periods is very, very low right now.
Well, the momentum is so different than last year, isn't it? Like, we were kind of just winning. It was just win, 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 win. You'll lose once in a while. Now it's like everything's like third period. Like, okay, how are we going to pull this off? Like,
they're
turning the tide,
And there's just, you look at the division, look at the whole conference, the whole Eastern Conference there's not many bad teams. Every night's going to be a tough night.
Philadelphia was surprisingly, competitive.
And teams ahead of us in the standings,
Yep,
exactly.
We could have drew dead even with them, but we gave them that charity point.
Yep.
And, so the Hurricanes just tied the Islanders with 3 seconds left.
See, there's another one that's
4-4 now.
Points.
Yeah, going into
that's the thing. Other teams have to lose to start moving up the standings,
and we want them to lose in regulation.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to happen.
But all you can do is worry about yourself, and the Devils are doing that. 3 in a row is huge. Tomorrow night, I just hope they come out and Timo will be back. You're getting a little bit more to the team that we were supposed to see from this season, which we haven't seen at all with all these injuries. So at least with Timo coming back, that should help. And I believe I said to Bobby earlier, I'm like, sometime within the next 6 weeks, if these guys start coming back and this team gets healthy, at some point they will be playing the best hockey in the NHL. They're going to go on that
believe
run.
it.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Especially offensively. I think once Timo's in this lineup and Halla's back and Hamilton's back, I think we'll be,
I think, if it takes a few games to figure out working with a full roster and getting cohesive, I wouldn't be surprised. But I can't imagine they don't become very, very dominant if they could stay together and stay healthy. I still believe that this is a team that has it all if they can do it.
Yeah, I'd mentioned to Chris before. I said, since last year I've been saying, I don't expect to see any one of those 13-game winning streaks or anything even close. But now I'm actually thinking it's still a real possibility. Not 13, something maybe 8, 9, 10, just because they're still so far off from playing what they can. And like to Chris's point, if in a few weeks they start to gel and they start to roll, it could be something like that or something close, 5 wins, an overtime loss, another 5 wins, that kind of something to really propel them up pretty quick.
And they will. I do believe that. Once they get healthy, when they start winning, they're going to jump up those standings. They belong up the top 3. I do think, though, that you're dealing with 2 teams. I mean, Carolina is just now starting to get their groove on. They weren't doing so hot right now. They started getting their shit together a couple weeks before us. So they're going to be up there. The Rangers haven't taken their foot off the brake since game 1. And I think Rangers are going to win the Metro. I think they're going to be a very hard team to catch unless they fall apart for some reason. No one's going to catch them. So they're going to win. And I do think we're going to end up 3rd.
But it is funny because the top 3 of most of our and everybody else's predictions for the conference are actually the ones struggling the most, furthest off their predictions,
Yeah.
We talk about Toronto. I get it. They're getting points and stuff, but do you think they look like as the dominant team you expect them to be, a top 3 conference team? I don't see that. And definitely we have missed the mark. So, yeah, I don't know.
A couple of teams have impressed me so far. The Florida Panthers have impressed me. They're damn good.
Boston to some extent. Boston has exceeded my expectations.
I still think that they're going to have a lot of trouble, I think, once the season goes on. I just, again, I don't trust the middle of the ice. I just think that they're going to have a really hard time scoring goals. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, Washington is still winning. Like, they're pulling games out of their ass. Like, we need these teams to start coming down to earth. Yeah. Washington and Pittsburgh. Well, Pittsburgh's not very good, but Washington wasn't supposed to be this good. The Flyers weren't supposed to be this good. Like, they're not making it easy for the Devils.
Jackets are winning at a better clip than last year, which we expected. I mean, we knew all those things were going to happen, but every one of them is happening. Yep. All at the same time, which is just making it really difficult.
If I was on that team, though, I tell you, I wouldn't give a shit. If anybody was looking at that, I would be like, who gives a shit? Because you said it. It's really the only thing they can control is playing the way they are capable of playing. And if they get that mindset, I have a hard time believing they won't find their way into the playoffs. I really think there's enough time for that to perform at the level they're well capable of. So we're going to find out. That's for sure.
Look, they might not have shown it yet, but this is one of the best teams in the NHL. They really are. They're in the top 5 or 6 best teams in the NHL. They just got to get healthy, and you start getting goaltending performances like we got tonight from Akira Schmid, minus those 2 long ones that beat him, the second one and the third one. But still, he played great tonight.
He did.
That's the start you need from him, and
but it's one of those games that if overtime can be a coin flip. It really isn't if you have the Devils. But
not with the Devils. You're right.
Right. But, let's imagine it was, because for many teams, it is kind of a coin flip when you go to overtime, almost as much as a shootout, of course. Then you look back at the goaltending, and you would have said the difference tonight was the goaltending, because Carter Hart was amazing. He was highlight reel, he was definitely making some weekly highlights,
that second period power play, 5 or 6 grade A chances.
Yep.
On that power play. It was incredible.
He didn't let any goals in that you could really even, I guess I could put on par Schmidt's second goal with maybe the Flyers' first goal against.
Yes. Okay.
I could see how they're
Holtz was wide open. You got to give him that.
Yeah, it was probably more difficult save than at least the third goal.
Yeah, but I think so.
Speaking of Holtz, was that 3 straight games with the opening goal?
3 straight games with a goal.
The opening goal too.
I'm really liking that line.
Yeah, that's impressive.
With Hala and who was it? With Hala and Palat, right?
Yeah, and they flipped him. They had him on his off wing today to start. I was hoping that would do something. He scores right away. Not on the off wing, but still.
And he likes that first goal, right? He likes early in the first period.
Yeah, well, we'll take it, right?
Yeah,
and he's starting to look comfortable with the team. You watch him out there, and he just has this little swagger now that you didn't see before. You saw why can't I score? Why am I? You kind of had this look on his face. Now he just looks
more tense.
He looks part of the team now. Like the guy, you could just see it. Especially last game, I really saw that.
I thought he played great, especially in the third period defensively. I thought he was really solid. He was out there for a lot of big minutes, and he handled himself good. He's starting to get Lindy Ruff's trust, that's for sure. And
Islanders
I think
just won, boys.
Oh, not Palat. Islanders won?
Yeah, in OT they just scored.
The whatchamacallit, not Palat, who he wasn't playing with. It was Lazar. I love that. I love that line. Curtis
Dude, I kind of love Lazar on any line, to be honest with you.
He's always in front of the net, being and very responsible too.
Yeah, he does not. He usually does the right thing. You don't have to worry when Lazar's out on the ice. And I love his personality. I like what he brings to his team. He was a good pickup from Tom Fitzgerald. And and Tyler Toffoli.
Toffoli, what can you say?
Man.
He was fantastic tonight.
I had said early on, right? It was one of you guys asked, like, do you sign him now? And I was, no, you wait. You get this guy for the year. You see, I'd maybe think about locking this guy up for a couple of years.
Why not? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
he's playing fantastic. It feels, looks like. I mean, I think anybody with his talent put on the line with Jack Hughes is going to have amazing, score a lot of goals. But he really is a natural, I think probably the most natural goal scorer on our team. Like he's a sniper.
Yep, exactly. I think his game kind of reminds me of a more seasoned version of what Mercer can bring. Someday, like that's your goal, dude. You're Toffoli in the future.
I like that.
He's got some similarities to their game.
Yeah, I definitely like that. So tonight's line was 6.5, which was beat. We scored 7 total. The over/under was 6.5. So if you got in on any of the DraftKings Sportsbook action and you took the over, you would have hit tonight. But you got to download the app now and use code THPN to do that. And new customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. It is, Dan. Yes. Take it and run with it, baby.
Okay, I got the crown.
Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023. All rights reserved. So
that's nice.
Fantastic.
I was listening.
Chris should be one of those game show readers. Remember back in like the 80s, they had the guy who like did the little spiel at the end of the shows. Chris, you would be excellent at that, man. You don't fuck up, dude. I'm impressed. You kind of roll. You're a pro.
Reading, dude. It's just reading.
But you don't stutter. You keep on doing it
since first
grade. I read at a 5th grade level.
Exactly.
So I was listening to XM today, and so it was The Point, and it was Boomer.
What's The
and
Point?
The other guy. It's a TV show.
What is The Point?
A radio show.
Of your story.
Anyway, so I got to just bring this up because the guy he started it out by saying that he was about to say the dumbest thing that he's ever said on the radio, but at the same time he has to stand by it. And he said this, and I thought, wow, that really just adds so much more to this whole offside thing. So he was talking about the Washington-Los Angeles game last night, and Los Angeles scored a goal. They were in the offensive zone for about a minute and a half, and Washington challenged right away. So like the whole time that they were in the offensive zone, Washington gets the call. Like if they score here, it just challenge it. It's over. So as soon as the whistle blew, that was it. They threw the challenge flag. So, but in that minute and a half, Washington got control of the puck 3 times.
Right.
And all 3 times lost it. So his whole thing is like, yeah, if you want to challenge offsides on a bang-bang play in the offensive zone, but once the defensive player has control of it, and if they don't clear the zone, that shouldn't be on you anymore. And I agree with that. And because so they end up winding the clock back a minute and a half.
Jeez.
Right? And the goal's gone. But he makes this point. He said, now, if Washington had scored, if they had taken the puck and gone the other way and scored a goal, a breakaway or whatever, why can't LA then challenge their own offsides? Because that play never would have happened.
You can't give them
I was offsides.
Yeah, that's sick, dude.
Just these weird little like dead end, crazy like tributaries that this river of shitty rule has got us to.
Yeah,
is exactly like why. Like I don't even like these half measures. Like people are going, if they touch the puck, they should wait. cancel it out. It's like, no, dude, we shouldn't even be in this conversation. Like,
but
I get
you
it.
are though, and you're not getting out of it.
Right.
No, but I'm telling you, like, then the other answer, like, if they get the puck and go, that ridiculousness there is another reason everything flows from this stupid rule.
Absolutely.
That needs to go away. This rule makes no sense. And let's take the worst case scenario. You said, on a quick break, somebody's offsides and they go down real quick and they score, and it should have been an offsides. It's like, come on, man. There's so many other bad calls you accept as part of the game. It happens all the time. And a league that says they want more goals, why would they make the default of the rule to, let's take away the goal? If anything, it would be, the last thing they want. The league that like outlawed goalies playing pucks because they wanted more shots on them. Like,
now
how is that the same league?
You're never going to get rid of this challenging offside rule.
Why
but you
not?
have to fix it. I agree. I totally agree. I hate it. I don't think it should be there.
You really think we won't get rid of it ever?
No,
you're pretty sure?
I would say
I hate to hear that. I believe you, but I hate to hear it.
But, I mean, look, my whole opinion is the linesman or the referee, or let them make the call. If they're going to get it right more. That's how we've done it for 100 years in hockey. They're going to get it right more.
Call you don't like
I'm
sometimes.
with you on that.
Now, but because this rule is implemented and we're probably never going to get rid of it, you do have to fix it. Like, there has to be either a time limit on it or something. Like, if you
whatever you fix it with is going to be a problem too.
But if the defense gets possession of the puck and doesn't clear it, and you get it back on a takeaway and score, how should that be challenged? You didn't do your job. I mean, I think that goal should stand.
So here's the next thing. Okay, how
would you change the rule to that?
I'm just let's say we did. But you know how it's a nice long review. Now we're going to be watching replays of he touched the puck, but did he have possession? Did the defending team have possession here? Let's get a call on whether he actually had possession. Well, now we need a new rule that says that in order to have possession, it's got to be on your stick for 1.5 seconds. Let's run the clock. Where are we going with this?
He needs to make a football move.
So how do you fix this rule? How do you fix this rule? That's what you're going to end up. You're going to end up with the NFL. Well, he got 1 foot down. He got 2 foot down, but 2 feet down. But he didn't make that.
Is that where you want to go?
Turn, which
the only place it's going. And then the other problems too. You just can't. You can't. You have to get rid of it. It is.
But if but you're not going to get rid of it. How can you fix it? You don't think
we were fine
because then what?
We didn't need this rule ever.
Let me ask you another question.
Yes.
What if players start because you can probably tell when the team's offsides, right? Like, you have a good idea. Like, if you know that this play is offsides, like, what's stopping other teams to just start cherry picking and just jump it up to me in the neutral zone and I'll take off? Like, what if that started happening? This is all like shit that could possibly come from this dumb rule. You're 100% right. But what happens then? If they know that if you score, it doesn't matter. You were offsides.
Right.
And all you have to do is chip it over the defenseman and I'm home free.
Right.
Well, yeah, and I think to some degree that could be happening. I bet if you review them, there might be times where teams were pretty certain or aware. They got a yell from the bench, like, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, we got it. They got guys watching video. So then it's like this weird bullshit technicality that makes you play different for a play. I mean, is that something people are going to like about the game? Like, here they're in the goal hanging mode because
delayed
they got
offense,
right?
Delayed offside offense.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I don't think the game is better because of this rule. I think it slows down the game, and I think any way you try to fix it is going to slow it down more and make it even more infuriatingly stupid.
I just think they have to get rid of it.
I don't know. I can't imagine, and I'm serious. I can't imagine a good way to fix it. I really can't.
I just know that they don't get rid of rules. They don't do that in sports. I
hate to hear that. You're making a point, but I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess if you put it to a vote, would the owners of the teams vote for or against it? Would the GMs vote for or against it? I'm curious. Do they like it or do they not like it?
I don't know. I think
most people liking it.
If the fans really made it, if the fans really rebelled against it, if enough people really hate this rule, and I think it's going to grow. You might be totally right when you say we've never reversed a rule. I don't quite know. Maybe there didn't used to be 2-line passes at one point, and then they put them in and took them out again, but I'm not sure about that. But let's just say you're right. They never take back rule. I think this might be the first time. I think like this. Look at this year. They took a goal away from Connor Bedard. Yeah. You mentioned every other game has a ridiculous outcome in this situation. I think the hate is growing, and if enough fans are just like, fuck this rule. Like, do you really think you're going to celebrate when you benefit from that? No, but you are going to hate it when it hurts you. Like, I mean, I have never been the beneficiary of that rule and go, oh, thank God they got that offsides. It feels like cheating. I don't like it. And I think fans kind of naturally feel that way. Like, this is a shitty way to get a goal taken off my team's side. So because it's got only negative feelings for the fan, in time, I think people's hate will grow maybe enough. I hope so.
And then you celebrate a goal, and then even if it stands, you're kind of over it by that. And it's been 5 minutes since play started. You want to know who cares?
Yeah, I feel like I'm watching like a video solving a crime. I came here to watch hockey. This is bullshit.
It is the worst rule I have ever seen in the NHL. It really is the worst rule, and it can lead to a lot of craziness.
Indeed.
But yeah, I don't see them changing it anytime soon. I think that the fans would have to be they would have to be like rabid about how much they hate this rule.
I mean, they did respond to just controversy and people complaining about fucking jerseys.
That's true.
So they might respond.
They do fold pretty quick.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They do fold. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, look at all the people that I've never heard. To be honest, I can't think of anybody I really hear that likes the shootout rule, right? But they don't change that. I mean, they know even the players come out and say, "Hey, this sucks," and they still don't.
There's enough fans that do enjoy shootouts that they are keeping it around for that.
I think it might be exciting, especially for like first timers or casual fans.
For a kid, maybe like a little kid.
I also think that they don't have anything viable right now that I think can get agreed upon to replace it. I just don't think that there's anything out there. I think,
and we've talked about that a lot. But we can start with at least extending 3-on-3 to 10 minutes, right? Like, why can't they at least do
of the time the game's going
to are the Players Association? We don't know. If they might very well be. My guys aren't playing any more hockey than needs to be. They don't even like the shootouts, but they're gonna So now you want them to play an extra 5 minutes.
Longer.
They might go along with it just because
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
No, but what you're saying is right. If they do this and the net result is hardly ever any shootouts, so as a players union, I might go back to my guys like, look, you say we gave something away, but we really didn't, because in the end, you're playing about the same amount of time or less.
And to me,
you're not doing shootouts.
Hardly ever.
You know what I'm saying?
Shootouts brings the allure back to it.
Right.
If it's really just very
taking away the shootouts, they're there on paper.
So we keep the shootouts after the 10-minute 3-on-3.
I mean, at least the first.
Chris, I think you said it like a couple weeks ago. It's deflate. Like, it's the same thing as with the big pause right between the goals. It's a shootout win. I don't know. I mean, you're glad you got the point, but it's not exciting. It's almost like
no.
It's not like just like, oh, okay, we got that extra point. Cool. Like, I had to sit there and watch. I don't know. It's just the excitement level is zero.
Once the Devils get to a shootout, I no longer give a shit about that point. I've said it a million friggin' times. I just don't care. It's a fucking skills competition.
Yeah.
I just watched 65 minutes of amazing hockey to get to this.
Maybe if you had like Trevor Zegras or whatever on your team, it might be a little bit more interesting because he always does weird shit. Or a few of the guys who just do crazy stuff. But even then, it'll be more of like a curiosity. You're not into it the way you are in overtime.
Who was our coach that like he would always go with like he'd be like putting Smith out there. It'd be like Elias Smith, and then
was
somebody,
that Hines,
I forget.
Maybe was
it was always like it was never the top three like snipers. It was always like I got a hunch that this defenseman's due. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Man? You would see like
put Parisi out there.
Taylor Hall sitting at the bench.
Taylor Hall sitting down.
And those guys would shoot like seventh if you made it that far. You're watching you'd be watching like
that's overcoaching.
Yeah.
In simplest terms, that's overcoaching.
Getting in the way. No, but trust me, guys. I got a hunch. All right.
Well, maybe you guys know. When's Jesper Bratt coming back from injury?
I don't know. I hope we get him back soon.
Saw him get a stick on a puck today. I really thought.
Oh, he was in today.
In the third period, I was like, this would be a great time for him to put an insurance goal in there.
Yeah, Spalding at one point, he's talking about maybe it was Mercer. No, it was McLeod, and he's going, how his game's come along and been real good. And, he's not going to be a finisher on the same level as Bratt and Hughes. And I'm like, well, you were half right.
Right.
I'm not considering Bratt a finisher here. I know he's got crazy skill, but
you have to get shots.
Where are you, man?
You have to get shots on net to be a finisher.
What are you guys thinking about Mercer? Like, what is I think he's a good player, right? But do you think he's ever going to reach the level that we thought he was going to reach last year?
I think
on a consistent level, I should say.
I honestly
his game's
still
been
do.
improving. Yeah.
Down the road, I think he's going to be a solid, flirt with 30 every year type of guy. I think he's got too much hockey sense. He's just good. Right now, he's kind of moving around the lineup a little bit different than last year.
Have you seen him playing better recently, Bob? I feel like I have, but to be honest, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who feels that he's been playing
feel like he's been playing better. And now a few games ago, that's when he had some points to back that up. And that's kind of trailed off a little bit, but
true.
He does seem to be like a force out there. He's noticeable, So I still think the points are going to come from Mercer. I wouldn't worry about him, and he's still a young guy, so I think he'll be fine.
Did you guys see? I'm trying to see who was in net tonight, but the goalie for the Penguins scored a goal tonight.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I love Dawson Mercer, and I love that he's playing back up with Jack. I think it gives him that confidence. I do think a big problem with Mercer this year was him being bounced around the friggin' lines. I think a guy like Mercer likes consistency. He's tends to flow better after playing with guys and gaining some chemistry because he's not a pure natural goal scorer kind of guy. He's more of a dude that once I know where you're going to be, where that kind of guy. I think he plays really good with Hughes. I think that Dawson Mercer, if he stays with the Devils for a long period of time, if he signs, I think he'll be a very big part of this team, especially in the playoffs. I think Dawson Mercer has playoff grit and character, and even though he's only played, the last year in the playoffs, most of these guys only played last year. I liked everything I saw about Dawson Mercer. I just
thought he was a little more noticeable last year. Like I always knew he was out there. Where now I'm like, okay, there's Mercer.
Everybody was more noticeable last year.
No doubt he has had a rough start, but I just feel like of the last 4, 5, 6 games or so, he's just been on the right track to get back there, Tony. I think we'll see him there this year.
You know what I think with a guy like Mercer too, you saw him his rookie year, you saw last year was more of his breakout year. This year it's struggling a little bit. He kind of reminds me of the type of guy that going into next year, if we lose somebody, like if we don't sign it to Foley or whatever, like the type of guy says, all right, I'm really going to go pick up some slack now, and kind of gets that 4th year of maturity under him where says I could be a leader on this team. I think maybe that plays a lot into his head. Before he was playing loose, he was like, I'm not being counted on this year. He's kind of flowing around. If we can't sign a guy like Toffoli, I could see him just really understanding it's my turn to, turn around. And they're talking about a guy who had 30 goals last year. So it's not like
right. And he's got that Iron Man status that was, that's part of not missing any games and that kind of stuff. That's pretty I could definitely see him as that leader. We talked about this at various points last year of like, wow, he's like captain material in the making. And I still believe that. There's no doubt he's gone through a rough patch that I didn't predict was coming, but I think he's still got a lot more in him. I think he can break out, be a big leader.
And I agree with Chris. I mean, I see playoffs in this guy.
Yeah.
Definitely see playoffs in this guy.
He's going to – I hope he stays with the Devils for a long time. I do. I'm very happy with Dawson Mercer. I'd like to see him in the next 3 or 4 years. I think he's going to be a really one hell of a player.
What is hockey sense on the roster, probably, if you look at it. At least he still showed that last year. His hockey sense is just really – his hockey sense is amazingly there. But
he's a smart guy. He really is. He definitely, after hockey, will do something in journalism, broadcasting, whatever, because he's really freaking good at it. I remember
supposedly a genius is like Marino. He's got like 2 different crazy degrees or something.
Really?
From Harvard or something. Like, yeah, he's got like an accounting and some kind of science degree. I was surprised to read that. I was like, wow.
He looks like somebody pretty boring enough to be an accountant. He does. Like, there's just that like dull look about.
Yeah, I should probably look up to get the facts right, but I believe it was like Harvard. He had like 2 degrees.
I think he did go to Harvard. So,
I want to mention something to you guys, and I want to ask you a question. So it was November 25th. I'm not going to give you the year. The Devils beat the Red Wings 4-3 in overtime to give them a record of 14-5-4, which is a pretty impressive record at this stage of season. What year do you think that was? We've all seen the glory years. We've seen last year. Like, where do you think this falls?
That's not last year?
I'm asking you. You tell me.
2000?
I'm going to say last year.
Okay. 2000. We got last year, so we got two high-profile teams. Dan, what do you think?
Oh, boy.
And I have a point.
Those are two good calls, honestly.
They are.
I can't really – I don't know. It's hard to pick which one I like better. I guess I'll go just because recent times. I'll go with last year.
Well, you could pick any year.
So this is why I brought this up,
last year.
because we talk about the dark ages that we just came out of.
Right.
This was November 25th, 2017.
17.
We were 14-5 at some point in 2017. And I bring that up because I find it interesting when we talk about how much season is left here. And I've said it before. If I wasn't doing this podcast, there's a lot of things I wouldn't remember season to season. Like last year, certainly I'd remember the winning streak. If you ask me this year, did the Devils have a bad December? It was bad enough where I'd be like, I kind of remember that. Like, it wasn't great, but you kind of lose all the nuance of the entire year.
Yes.
And that's what we have in front of us. And then if you go 10 years from now, I'm not going to remember that the 2023 team had that shitty of a December. I'm going to remember how freaking good they were.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you, like, this 2017, they were awful. How did they start off that good? It was before Taylor Hall kind of came in.
No, wasn't that the year they made the playoffs?
18.
Was this the 17-18 season, Bob?
He's talking about the 16-17.
Okay, you're right, but it's the beginning of the year still, so I didn't see that coming. So, all right, you make a good point there, but again, lost in the shuffle,
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I don't remember half of the shit if we weren't talking about it every day, But
there was that one season where I think they started off with, like, I don't know, I want to say like 7-1 or something, right? Like some kind of crazy great start, and then it just all went to shit. That was a few seasons ago. I can't remember which.
Yeah, you're right. And I thought that was it might have been 18, 19 that it started off that way, and then everything just went to shit, and we got rid of Taylor Hall. And I'm not 100% sure though, because again, like Bobby said, I don't remember. It's hard to remember the nuance of it, but yeah, I mean, I think this year they do have a very good team. It's just get healthy, man. Get your shit together. I loved the last 3 games. You look at, we went in and just offensively destroyed Buffalo. Then the next win was a tough come from behind win. We played like shit for an
good
entire
defensive
period.
Team.
Yeah, good defensive team with a great goalie, and it took coming back 3 goals in the third period, coming back down 2 to win it in regulation, and then tonight, which was a grind, you blew the fucking lead.
Played very, very tenaciously. They never gave up. They never let the Devils breathe for a second. And Carter Hart was unreal. It took so much offense, but to get 4 goals on him tonight, I mean, he could have had a shutout against many other teams. That was a great performance.
And this is the way the Devils have played so far this year. It's up and down emotions during these games.
What's that?
These games have all been up and down with the Devils. Like, you watch a game, you're always like, one minute you're yelling at the TV, next minute you're excited. That's pretty much what every game has been this season.
But my point is, though, with the 3-game win streak, they won 3 games 3 different ways. And I really like that. Hey, look, man, if you want to go east to west, we're gonna shit all over you. You don't want to go north to south with us, rather. And then you keep us down and you give us enough opportunities, we're gonna come back. And then you want to grind it out, we'll still beat you. And that was what they did last year. They won in a bunch of different ways. And I agree with what Jack Hughes said. Like, everybody keeps talking about last year. Like, I don't give a shit about last year. I get it. But for our conversations, you have to have some type of comparison. And they did that last year. It doesn't matter who they played. We can win in any different style. And
tonight's win was a big win. I mean, there was a lot of adversity in that game. Jack was talking about, we did not match the grit of the Rangers after that loss. And he was 100% right. We said it ourselves, and I think everybody saw it. And you can say this, we haven't had the great control of the game that we ultimately want from a team that's talented. No. But, boy, we've seen way more grit. And that has been, I think, the single biggest factor why you're still alive to come back and score those extra goals, other than the fact of getting some of these very talented guys back, of course.
You're 100% right. You got to find the balance of Saturday night and tonight, and that's the team you want to be.
Yeah, well, I'm interested. What do we do against the Sharks, right? Do we beat them like easily, or is it going to be, we should win this game pretty easily. No game is easy. When you play these kind of teams, it's never easy. But I'm hoping that we really come out and dominate this next game because, the Sharks, they're not that, let's be honest, they're not that great this year. They're still a professional team.
One thing we've learned is the team you should beat, you very well may not this season with the Devils. So we'll see. I don't know. Who do you guys think the most improved player on the team is over, let's say, the last 3 to 5 games in your estimation? Yeah, because they're definitely doing. I mean, a 3-game winning streak. Who is the MIP, the most improved player?
I'll still go with Holtz, even though I didn't think he was ever playing bad. But what he's doing
your
now
answer for everything is Holtz. That's
it has to be now because Tony's taking my point.
Okay, Holtz. Who else? Who else we got, guys?
How do you know? I know you guys are going to
actually
criticize
Luke Hughes
because he had a bad penalty tonight. But how can you? Smith's kind of been good the last few.
Tony, I'll tell you what. I owe Smith an apology because I was one of the biggest Smith detractors on this show, and I think a lot of fans were. I wasn't alone, and I got to tell you, he is still not going to not drive you crazy at times. Think about that penalty tonight. Okay, I don't think he'll ever give me a game of peace and quiet where I'm not cursing him out, but I will tell you that he's been a net gain on this team, and he's had such an improvement over like his game starting to come along. I thought it was insanity to put him on as a forward. I got to tell you, he didn't play that bad. It was like, what? I still don't want this to happen, but he has added something to the team, and it's mostly the grit. You look at the way he stood up and in last game, and I think he is doing so much better to where I really wanted him gone. Now I am reconsidering that big time. Right now,
to give Russ credit, I know we give him some shit, but I mean, crazy things.
I know he's always ahead.
Sometimes,
but I gotta admit, I went right back when I saw him take that penalty today to like.
I
know this is what the guy does.
He'll never not drive me crazy.
If we miss,
would you give
the playoffs by a point or a first seed by a point? I'm gonna think about that play.
I hear you.
I like all of Brendan Smith's positives. It's just going to come down to, in the grand scheme of things, like you said, is it really a net positive? When that's what it comes down to. Is his defensive lapses, his stupid penalties, and is that worth what you get from him in the locker room, his grit as a leader, the other attributes he brings to his game?
That's a very good point.
And I don't know yet. I think it's kind of early in the season. And here's the thing. Right now, no, it's not a net positive because his negatives this year have been much more frequent than his positives.
Okay, but he just started over the last 3 or 4 games, and that's where the wins have been.
Yes.
So I'm just saying,
he can do what
maybe he has improved. It's not like they're winning despite him right now. He is contributing for the first time with consistency this season.
And adding a thing that we needed with the grit that we really needed, he's bringing that there.
Yeah. I mean, what's the price of it? Some bonehead penalties. It's a big price, dude. You're right. But, geez, I don't know. If I just look at the small sample size of these 3 games, I got to get off his back. But, I mean,
absolutely.
If I'm Fitzgerald, I still am looking – who else is out there? I want to make sure I'm not leaving any stone unturned because I'm not 100%. So
you're 100% right. And over the last 3 or 4 games, what Brendan Smith has brought has been awesome. And I love seeing it because it is something that, like you said, this team sorely lacked, and he's bringing it. But I do feel better about Brendan Smith with the simple fact that, like, dude, the shit that's wrong with your game, you should be able to fix.
Right.
Like, you should be able to clean that shit up. And then you're just left with the guy that we've seen the last 3 or 4 games. And that's what you want. He's the kind of dude that, in the playoffs is going to be a big guy in this team, a voice in that locker room. Right. And I think he is going to be extremely important, but he can't. Dude, that slash was so stupid. You're already on a fucking penalty kill, dude. It's fucking 2 minutes left in the game. You're winning. What are you doing?
It was clearly retaliatory. It wasn't like he was slashing to stop somebody moving with the puck. This was a reflex retaliatory penalty. If he had to slash away a possible scoring chance, you give him a break or go, he was just a little too eager on the defense. no, go watch that play. He got cross-checked and then just responded with a slash. And there was no puck nearby. It was ridiculous.
I think he can fix that, though. I think that he has to. We think that these players know what's going on the outside, right? They know what they hear they know the hate that he's gotten the last year and a half or whatever. They know this, and I think that he looks at his opportunities now, where he's playing at now, and I think he can fix those. Will he? I don't know, but these are things that he can adjust. Because if he does, he's going to get more playing time. The fans are going to be less on his back. Because I know during the offseason, we've even said on the show when the season started, like people were giving this guy shit from day one. It is something he can fix. Will he? I don't know. But I think Fitzgerald's always going to be looking on the side, though, because I think that's what makes Fitzgerald. You got to always be looking. But like you guys said, it's going to be something you find out with him at the end of the season with how important he was. But he can be a voice in that locker room, which we do need, I believe. So.
Yeah, I mean, we got to wait and see with Brendan Smith. I mean, if Brendan Smith was part of a trade package for somebody else, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that as long as that if the Tom Fitzgerald's bringing somebody else in to shore up our defense or whatever. I think I trust him to make the right call. But if Brendan Smith is the guy for this year, I tell you though, I like them better as a friggin' a winger than I do on defense. I know it's crazy. But I actually think he plays better there. And you still get him for the penalty kill. You still get all the other shit that he brings. It just, I don't know.
I think I missed one of the shows. I think it was maybe just Chris and Dan when he was first being put up there. And I remember listening to you guys because I said if I was on the show, I would say the only thing I liked about him going into the forward position was that it at least gave the lines some even weight and the defense back down to 6 because they were doing a lot of
11-7 anymore.
Too many men penalties and things like that.
Right.
That would have been the only positive. Otherwise, I was just like you. I was like, what in the hell? There's definitely got to be a better option than that. And then quickly, not so much that first game, but definitely the game after that, like the Buffalo game.
Right.
He really looked good. It was so weird. I think I posted on X. I was like, is he a better forward than defenseman?
He might be.
Yeah, I think he is.
I was trying to wonder if my expectations were so low because I thought it was such a horrible idea that I'm like, am I really believing what I'm seeing here, or is he really playing good and adding to this team? I kind of couldn't believe what I was seeing.
That's what it was like. This guy has been one of our worst defensemen, and now you're going to move him up. Like this guy keeps falling up in this fucking team.
You said he's falling up.
This guy's crazy, but it worked out. But Tone, you had said about like San Jose. I think San Jose is a much improved team from where they were, a month and a half ago. They are playing a little bit better, but there's absolutely no reason that the Devils should struggle at all tomorrow. Like should be they should just dominate that game.
I know
it should look like the Buffalo.
We're going to see Vanacek, and it makes perfect sense, and that's fine. But I did like seeing Schmidt start a game. I think we need to see more of it. I liked so much of what he did. I think he, is not showing us the perfect performance that you might need in the toughest of games when the goals just aren't coming. And I want to see that. And I want to see if he's capable of it. So I hope he gets some more starts.
I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him in the next game. I think that would actually be kind of smart. Give him
tomorrow,
2 in a row.
Back to back. Not too many guys are doing that.
I guess back in the day that would be nothing, but now you're not going to see that.
I definitely would play him in the next game.
We talked, Dan, on the last show after the Islander game, and I think that he's going to be essentially, if we're going to have a number one, I think you're going to start seeing it being Schmidt now. He's going to get the lion's share of the work. I honestly believe that. I think that the team and management think they're starting to lose their trust in Vitek Vanacek.
We'll see. One thing about it though, you're going tonight. Yes, he played good, and yes, we won, and that's in the end all I care about. But you and I know we were one weird overtime bounce away from. Well, we have a goaltending problem.
Oh yeah,
right? That would be the story.
I still think we have a goaltending problem, Dan.
Yeah, because with Schmidt, you never know. Next game might give up 4 goals in the first period. You just don't know.
That's what we got to see. We got to see
so much
can he consistently win, and he needs more starts. So hopefully, if we can't see him tomorrow, the following game would be the best.
The whole thing with Schmidt is he's only 24 years old, man.
Right.
This kid is going to be a Devil goalie for a really long time, and I believe that he will be. And I think the game plan is him and Dawes in the future and in a couple of years. He has a lot on his plate for being 24 years old and now kind of like on a team that Vitek was supposed to carry the load. He's not doing his job, and now it's kind of sitting in Akira Schmid's lap. I hope that seems like he's mentally prepared for the load and to keep up and take this team, keep on winning with him. I hope he can do it. I get a little bit nervous just with the fact that he's only 24. I don't want to ruin this fucking kid. And that kind of makes me a little bit nervous. So I do think we have a goaltending problem still, because I do not trust Vitek Vanacek. Maybe it'll be Schmidt. Maybe Schmidt will get, his shit together and start rolling. And next thing you know, wow, we found our next number one.
I can see it's very possible.
I looked at the lineup too, and I was happy to see him getting the start. I feel that the tides have flipped a little bit. I feel he now deserves the starter's net a little bit more.
No doubt.
So it was good to see. V has been on record too with the press about his own confidence right now. Like, he knows this is not a shock. I mean, right now you got to play the guy who's just that much better. And for most of the year, I kept saying that was V, just head to head. But right now it's Schmidt's turn, and maybe he turns this into something long term. I know that we're going to need it, because this is a feel good story right now, coming off the 3 straight wins. The one, it was a good road win too. Everything worked right going into a Sharks game where, let's face it, we should go 4 straight wins, because we got a hell of a schedule coming up after that.
Yeah,
And we need one of these 2 guys to establish. I'm going to give you a game where we don't give up 3 goals. Can we start there? Like, for God's sakes, I was finally sitting there. I think one of my things was we're going to have a game where they only give up 1 goal. And they're sitting there 3-1. I'm like, just end this goddamn game.
That was very.
This would be the first game of the year that they only give up 1 goal. And
I was even thinking that when they had a 2-0 lead. I'm like, it's not impossible. Schmid looks good. They keep,
I was thinking it.
But it's like, it just keeps going. The goals just keep going in.
I know.
I think that they're going to make a move. And I don't think Vitek Vanacek will be here past the trade deadline. I honestly don't.
See.
So someone's got to
I think
take
for the
him,
first
right?
time this season, though, the honest to goodness spotlight is on the goaltending. And by that, I mean the defense has been so abysmally poor that when we were talking about, is this guy playing well? Look, he only stopped, 14. It's like, this isn't even, we didn't learn anything, guys, because this defense, no goalies stopping those goals. But now we're getting to a more competent level. Yes, not all the problems are worked out, but I think it's going to be a better test. Would Schmid have lost the game tonight?
You mean Vanacek?
And it was tonight, Schmid.
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying.
Oh no, I mean like
Vanacek,
subjunctively, like if he had lost the game tonight, if Schmid had lost, you can't really fault defense, especially because it. Like some of those games that Vanacek lost, come on, guys. There was like so many high quality chances. It was ridiculous. Like, of course he's going to lose those games. Tonight, I didn't see it that way. It wasn't like a ton of breakaways. And, it was, so,
So to your point, we lose this game. And then not only do we lose it, Schmid lets in 4 goals, and you're like, once again, you're like, oh my God, like, what are we going to do?
Well, what if we lose it in overtime, and it comes down like Schmid let those 2 in? Like, they were bad goals, those last 2, and he might have played
so
great,
close
but
to a reality
those 2
that
bad goals. Yeah,
it does tell you something you don't want to see right now, which is, okay, this was a good test for a good goaltender being very good, not a good goaltender being unbelievably great. Like, we would have had to have had one
like Carter Hart
to win some of those games. Yeah, Carter Hart could have stole a couple of games that we lost this year that we didn't deserve to win because of the way he played tonight.
And how many times have we talked about that goalie that not only can, let in maybe 1 less goal a game, but it really can sometimes come down to like that one big save a game. Like, that's the difference between the great and the good. Yep. We're never getting that. Like, I don't think we've gotten that one game.
Well, we got it tonight. I thought there was that one move where it was a partial breakaway on the left side of the boards, and whoever was the skater got right in front, pretty much a partial breakaway on Schmid, and Schmid made a really nice save. It was in the first period, and I thought that's one to remember that this dude is on. He looks good tonight.
I get it. I get what you mean.
But I get it. No, you're 100% right. They don't
in
do
like
it
in like an almost not an easy win, but in a more relaxed. yes, we won 3-1. Like the game just kind of glided to an end as opposed to this shit that we get every time.
The drama.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say what Chris said, but kind of 50% wise, I think that we are going to make a move before the trade deadline, but I think it's actually going to be Vanacek as the backup and the guy that we bring in as the starter. And I could be wrong, but I actually do think that, and I think that's going to be a decision up the top. I think they're going to.
You think they're going to trade Schmid?
I don't know if they're going to trade Schmid, but I think that he will be the back. He will, they might send him down. Because like you guys said, we're very tonight. We're all like Schmid, right? Okay, great saves, But if he would have lost the game, gave up a couple more goals or gave up the overtime goal, I think the tune would be different. And I've seen it even on social media. Like 1 minute, everyone's like, "Fuck this guy." The next minute, they're like, "We love him. He should be the starter every day." And this is the kind of emotions that the Devils fans have right now because it's been so up and down. So
he definitely played a hell of a game.
I don't know if I can see them sending Schmid down. And maybe, I guess maybe depending on who you got. But I think that Vanacek would be the person moving. I do. I think that they have enough. I don't know if that would do.
It depends. It could change.
Would that do Schmid any good going back down?
I don't know. That's a good point. Why not cut bait then if it comes to that?
If you got a true starters heavy load, like 65-70% of the games, like total repetition maybe. Otherwise, he's already proven he can handle it up here.
Yeah. I would have been okay with starting Schmid in the AHL this season if you had gotten somebody over the summer and something. Yeah, he's only 24. Let him have another year down there. I don't know now. Point, I'm worried that you fuck with a guy's head if you did that.
Right. But so many things we have to know so much more before you get to that point because we haven't seen enough of Schmid. And that's why I'm happy to see him in this game, and we need to see more of him. And I don't think it's going to hurt Vanacek. And I tell you, I was in a different mind last year. I was like, look, make Vanacek number one. Let's make it clear. There was a couple reasons for that. It was, also who we had in the wings. But I think we now are, looking where Vanacek is. And I think, okay, we know a lot about him. We kind of know what we got with him. Mm-hmm. We're hoping for the best, but we know the weaknesses. And the truth is, with Schmid, we don't have enough information yet. And I want that information now. And because it'll give us a better position to be in to make those calls. Who stays, who goes, for whom, if that happens. We definitely need more starts from him.
I love Schmid. I really do. I'm looking forward to this guy growing in the next couple of years because I think he's going to be a really good goalie for us. If it's a little too early for him, I guess we're going to know, like as far as having the heavy load, because I do think that the team is much more confident with him right now than with, and not just the players, I'm talking management, with him than with Vanacek for the exact reasons you just said. Like, what you have with Vanacek.
Right.
We're not going to get any surprises. If he goes and lets 5 by in San Jose, then we got problems.
I don't. You know what though? I don't see. He needs to now, like Vanacek also needs to now prove he can play with an improved defensive. Like the last few games, they've just played better defense, not perfect by any means, but good enough for the goalie to play competently and win. And and they played quite well, and that's a big part of the 3-game wins. And Vanacek is part of that. So great, and he's going to get his chance tomorrow. I think it's very possible that Vanacek's going to do better, just like Schmid has been doing better.
That's what we need, right? To have these two guys playing as good as we know that they can be. Vanacek was fantastic last year. What's that? Yeah.
Let's have a positive goalie controversy. Like, who's better?
Exactly.
This guy's too good. How do we bench this guy?
It's like in Boston, like they don't give a shit who's starting. It doesn't matter. I
heard your boy's name the other day, Chris. By the way, I think I told you I was messaging. I heard Swayman's name. I was like, Chris would love to have this guy wearing.
I have heard that they're. I don't think that they're going to move him unless they get into a really bad spot where they really need some forward help. That maybe they would look to pass him by. Just a reckless.
Who are you saying would be the most likely team to get him? But you said the most likely team would be what? LA. You said.
I said LA. I just think LA is they're an amazing team right now. I just don't know how much you could trust Cam Talbot and whoever their other goalie was at Phoenix. Cockley, is he the other one there? Maybe I'm not sure.
Me, man.
But I think that they would maybe make a move for a guy the stature of Swayman if Boston really was going to put him on the market.
I think a move for him.
Yeah, I think the more likely place, if the Devils are going to go get a goalie, I do think it's probably going to be like a John Gibson person.
Gibson, yep.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I got from now. We're staring at Kincaid. No.
Well, if we're gonna get any old goaltender back, I'll take him over Blackwood. I'll tell
and
you.
We can't remember the run he had. I mean, we can never forget what he did a couple years ago. I mean, he was definitely the man.
I love the blockade. He was fun.
Yeah.
Well, before we
like,
wrap it up, I was on YouTube the other day, and I put in goalie blunders or goalie bloopers, right? So it's like all these horrible goalie mistakes and, goals from the red line and goals from there was like maybe 15 or 20 plays. A former New Jersey Devil was the goaltender in 3 of the bad fuck ups. Can you take a guess who it was?
Swap?
Nope.
Well, I know
he just stopped playing for us, or he just got off our roster last year. Think about that for one second.
One guy was all 3, the same guy?
Yeah, one guy.
I thought you were looking for 3 different goals.
One player.
Was it Blackwood?
Yeah, Blackwood.
No, it was Jonathan Bernier when he was with Toronto. There were 3 of them that he let in, like from the blue line, from the red line, like just horrible.
I was excited when we first got him a little bit.
So was I.
It could be okay, and then
I that sucked because I felt like maybe that season. When we went through 11 or however many
7 goalies, right? Some shit.
Whatever we went through that year. I did feel like that team, if they would have had competent goaltending, maybe could have made a little bit of a run. If Bernier stayed healthy, I think they could have done something. I thought he played good in those few games. Well, yeah. Anything else you guys want to touch on?
We got no football this weekend, do we? Me and you. Sorry,
I don't know.
Yeah, same here, man. And then we got each other coming up. But both of our spirits me and Chris's spirits a couple weeks ago were pretty high, and then the last couple of weeks it's like back to reality.
That's
a win changes everything.
We're in a 3-game win streak
Chiefs,
with the
man.
Devils, so I'm happy. Yeah, it was a tough game. What you got, Bob?
Got a boots on the ground report from John about the Philly game.
Okay.
Woo. John, as we know, is a Devils fan. He was attending as a Philly game. He said, I got to talk to you about the crowd here. It almost felt like a home game. It was awesome. Wow. And I said, what, like a 50-50? He goes, yeah, but the Devils' chants were louder than the Flyers' chants. Little bit of good news there since we know what it's like when the Rangers come into our house. I'm surprised to hear that. Sometimes for a lot of Devils fans, it's an easier trip. To go out to Philly, but not to that degree. So that's kind of cool to hear.
Remember 20 years ago, you'd never want to go to that damn place with a Devils jersey on.
I still don't want to go. I don't go.
Yeah, it's such a circus.
Even the music they play between puck drops is like the worst of any arena. I don't know what's going on over there. It's like horrible.
I just don't enjoy it. I want to go and enjoy my time. I'm going to go to my arena. I'm not going to deal with that bullshit.
There you go.
That's a horrible place to go.
So real quick, we're going to be on Saturday, so we'll talk about the San Jose game then. But anybody want to do quick scores?
Quick scores.
San Jose game?
Yeah.
4-1 Devils.
Okay.
Ooh, I like it.
What do you got, Bob?
I'm going 5-1 Devils, so I'm going to hit 2 of my markers for this week with that.
Go ahead,
you can still say it, dude.
Nah,
I'm going first shutout of the year, 3-0.
Wow, Vanacek gets the shutout, 3-0.
Yep.
All right, so we got 4-1. We have 3-0. We have 3-0, 4-1, 5-1. I'll go 6-1. All right, just keep it that way. So, guys, wherever you're listening to us, give us. I go 10-1.
Come on, Smith, score a goal, damn it!
15-1.
Save some goals for Vancouver, please.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game, man.
Yeah,
that's going to be awesome. I can't wait for that one. When's that? Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
10 o'clock, though. We're not doing a podcast after that.
That's Hughes Day.
I'll be waking up, actually, that time.
That'll be Hughes Day. That's what we're playing.
That's going to be a Hughes Day.
Yeah, Hughes Day.
So, wherever you're listening to us, give us a like, 5-star review, comment. Goes a long way to promote the podcast. Also, check out Tampa Morgue, which is Tony's other podcast, which is
we had
horror
Count
movies,
Duvall
heavy
on tonight,
metal.
guys. I had 2.5 hour with Count Duvall, was Bozo the Clown back in the day. Remember Bozo the Clown? He was the third Bozo the Clown. He was been around for like 50 years. Had him on tonight for like 2.5 hours. It's very cool.
Nothing but A-list guys on Tampa Morgue.
Exactly.
Check them out.
The horror host,
the
baby.
third Bozo the Clown.
I'm your fourth here.
I love
honk,
it.
Honk.
All right, guys.
He probably won't do the show.
Thanks for checking us out. For Tony, Bob, and Dan, I'm Chris. We're the Uncle Puckers. We'll see you when we see you.
Okay. Peace. Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Couldn't let it go without a bye-byes.
My wife loves it. She's
My wife?
Bye-byes. My wife.
Bye-byes. All right, I'll change it officially.
It's over, Johnny.
No, she really likes it.
It's over.
So what was that guy's name? Count Dooku?
Come
on, man.
So this
5
guy
seconds.